Step number 8, I tell you to switch to the 2 viewports. And in this I say, notice that text does not show. That is because we created a text style that at present will only show when the scale is set to 1/4 inch. The left viewport is scaled to 3/8 and the right at 1/2 inch. And now I tell you to switch back to model space. Back in model space. Next to the scale, there are 2 icons. At this time, only one is turned on. Actually, on mine, 2 of them were turned on. All right, so if you go back here, right down here, you see that there's the 2 icons, and one right now I have it turned on. When it's turned on, it will show the text no matter what the scale is. You notice if I go here and I say, set the scale at 1:1, it doesn't matter. It will show this text. But I tell you to turn it off. And if I turn it off, you notice the text will not show because the text does not have a scale of 1:1 assigned to it. So turn it back on. So by picking on that, it turns it back on, and you can see the text. Now I'm going to step number 10. If you hover over the second icon, it will tell you automatically add scales to the annotative object when the annotative scale changes. What that means is, at this point, if that's turned on and I change my scale, it will automatically assign it to those objects. Sometimes it's easier to do this. Before we do that, let's take a look at the scale. If I hover over, like I say, see it only has one icon. If I pick on it and right click, notice that I can go here where it says annotative object scales, add delete scales. You see that there's only one scale there, and it says 1/4 inch. I'm just going to cancel out of that. Then I'm going to turn on the second icon, which says automatically add any scales. Well, I'm in 3/8, I got to get out of it. So if I go back to 1/4 and I come back here to 3/8 again, notice that it changed the size of the text because I changed the scale. Also notice that there are now 2 icons there because it means that there's multiple scales. If I pick on that, right click and go annotative object scales, add and delete. Now I have 1/4 inch and 3/8 assigned to these text objects. I canceled out of that. I said go, well actually I don't know, but go to the left, the 2 viewports, and you notice that the text now shows up in the left viewport because we assigned to that text object, we assigned a scale of 3/8. So now it has 1/4 inch and it has 3/8 assigned to it. And I said here, double click in the, at step number 12, double click in here, and you could tell if the viewport is active because see how the border got heavy? And also there is a cursor here. If I move out of it, you see it's a pointer, but in here it is a cursor. And I said to hover over this, and you see that there's multiple scales assigned to those objects. I can select this object here, right click, go to annotative object scales, add scale, and I could add 1/2 inch to it. You notice that shows up in the other viewport, but the workstation one didn't because the workstation doesn't have that assigned to it. So sometimes it's better to go out in model space and just change it right here. It'll change it for all of them. It depends on what you want to do with your text. See, so now if I go back out here, see it'll show up because both the objects have the scale factor set to them. So as we start doing more and more drawings and we start drawing and putting different viewports on our drawings, you're going to see how this comes in very handy. Because the one thing you want your drawings to look nice. When you annotate your drawings and you put text on there and dimensions, you want them all to appear the same size basically. So this gives you control and you only have to make one style.